I was 10 years old when my father brought me to West Point for the first time, and that was the first year that women had graduating from West Point, and that was such a great influence on my life. That was it. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be one of them.
The recruiters were advertising. Uncle Sam says, "I want you."
And actually, before I went to college, my father pulled me aside and said, "Well, why don't you go into the Navy?" And, you know, I said, "Are you crazy? That's for boys."
People would call me Private Benjamin. That was the one with Goldie Hawn, yeah.
My father was in the military as well. He was in the U.S. Army, like regular Army, and he went to Vietnam War. And that was one of my main reasons why I decided to follow his footsteps.
I was coming out of work one day, I guess, and you know, they talked me into it, and I signed up.
What did your parents think?
Never told my mother.
Beforehand?
No.
What did she think when you went home and told her?
She couldn't say a word. It was too late.
I sometimes think I must have been mad to enlist.
I had my job, I had a boyfriend, you know, my life was set, you know, and then, but like I said, like I never felt that I was where I was supposed to be, you know, and then I took the step, and here I am.
I was managing at Domino's Pizza and Saxon Woods Pool, so I was like, okay, something's got to be better than this, so I decided to enlist, and I passed my ASVAB and went off into the Navy.
I had a little book the Navy was using for recruiting, and it was called The Story of You in Navy Blue. And the sorority I belonged to, but they had been campaigning for women of our color to be taken in the Navy.
I could see some kind of a career path. I didn't know quite what it was, but I decided that it was there.
I thought that the war was the most important event in my life and in the life of our generation.
And that's really what motivated me to go in the first place, and why to sign up after 9/11. A lot of people are like, what the hell are you thinking? You know, I mean, you still have these student loans to pay, you know, this is your opportunity to actually make a salary, and oh, we're at war. And
A lady who was so nervous, she said to me, "You gotta hold my hand." I said, "No, no, no. This is where you separate the ladies from the children. So you stand on your own."
I wouldn't want to be drafted either. I mean, I'm a volunteer. That's part of the reason I'm a volunteer is I was given the choice. I thought about it. I picked my service. I was even able to compete for the job I wanted. You know.
What are the different ways that you would pose for a military photograph?
Attention is one, at ease, which is this. You know, legs, shoulder length apart, and attention is attention. Shoulders back, head straight forward.
Okay, if you could look at me again right here.
I can look at you, but I can't see you.
I've been interviewing other veterans, younger veterans, so that I could have some pictures by Margaret of other veterans, but because you're like the most special one, because you were in both portraits.
It's funny, you know, I remember the day he did that picture.
Yeah.
I sat and I posed for him.
Were you the only woman there, or was it in a few?
No, I was the only one.
And was it at
when
the
he did
museum,
that picture.
or was it in his studio somewhere?
No, it was at the museum.
They've never seen a lady colonel before, and certainly not a black lady colonel, but, you know, and they can't imagine how I decided to do that. So
people are always curious, especially a lot of women are curious to know what's the atmosphere, what is it like to actually be in the military, knowing that it's still considered a man's military.
Well, then it was, they weren't combined, you know. He used to ride around in his Jeep, make sure nobody went into the whack territory.
They had just integrated the women with the men. We were the first.
Wow. There's a minimal amount. You know, the majority obviously are men, and you know, the minority are women.
Well, that's true for me too. I mean, even in the administrative areas where you would think you'd run into more women, like the personnel command, when I was, there were far more men than women.
As it progressed, I would say that there are more various roles. I think in the beginning, it was expected that you were either a mess, which you were a cook, you were a nurse. You always did something where you weren't on the front line. Now, even though we still can't supposedly be on the front line, because clearly, like in civil affairs, if you're part of the civil affairs team, you're in Humvee and you're driving down the road and you're meeting with the local people, you're sort of on the front line, but you're not walking around with the weapon in your hand.
My platoon actually was 50-50. So
Really?
it was half, yeah, it was half females.
Is that a new, kind of a new thing that they tend to be 50-50? Is that rare?
No, I went to Fort Jackson, which is where a lot of the females will go, depending on your MOS, because there's a lot of MOSs that females can't do.
What?
MOSs, military occupational specialty. So our jobs. But like the infantry, females can't be infantry.
When I went to Iraq, I was attached to an infantry battalion, and they attached 9 females to the infantry units.
Really?
And it was
officially to do exactly what the men did, or?
Yes, we trained the same training as the infantry. They were not happy at the beginning because they didn't.
The men weren't happy?
Yes, they didn't, I guess, adjust to the idea that females were getting like integrated with infantrymen.
Well, let me tell you, I was never stronger than when I was in the military, because at the time I weighed, I don't know, 114 pounds. The vest weighed 40 plus, and the helmet weighed about 8. So imagine that, having half your body weight on top of your hips.
The Army's not for everyone. Not everyone can do this. I mean, I work with a lot of people. Some people just join for the education benefits, and then they realize, holy crap, you actually have to do this.
We were hit constantly by rockets. You're hit by mortars. Grenades were thrown in. I mean, lobbed over the walls. You know, there's just constant machine gun fire. It's just a constant noisy environment. You have the helicopters that are hovering at night. You know, has the light going out, and you can see the infrared that comes out of the helicopters. And you're talking about a helicopter that is so low that it's just like.
There were 2 female surgeons. There were 5 intensive care people and only 1 man.
You patch them up, you do what you had to do, and then you put them on a plane, and then you never knew, did they make it? And you got back to Walter Reed.
Wow.
And we used to always send messages back. Did so-and-so make it? And then we found out some of them did die, but we never saw them again.
You're never off guard, and that's very hard to come back home and get yourself off guard.
The head of the whole WAC was somebody by the name of Colonel Ovida Kalpabi. Mm-hmm. And she said that her women had to do the same as the men. I was never assigned to KP, but usually they send some girls over to help wash the pots and pans. But somehow I was never sent.
Everyone's a soldier. Male, female, makes no difference. You have a job to do.
You know, every once in a while, you know, the guy would come up to you after if they were finished doing what they would come and help you, but it wasn't an expectation, you know. And I think the females that thought it was an expectation, those are the ones they didn't help, because the men didn't want to treat you like you were inferior. If they respected you, they wanted you to do the same thing they were doing. So whether it was PT that you were doing, or if you were climbing, or you were rappelling a wall.
The only concern I had about being a woman was, God forbid, I'd be held captive and be raped. Or be raped by somebody on the base. Because that does happen, unfortunately. But in a professional sense, no.
You know, but I wasn't worried about that. I felt that if I was woman enough to say I wanted to go in, then I'm woman enough to deal with it, you know.
You have a lot of information presented in front of you, but a lot of times you have to take that and internalize it and give it your best shot. And this man is a very, very smart man, and you have got to project and be able to take this information and share it with him in a way that everybody in that room, along with himself, is convinced that you know what you're doing.
For promotions, I mean, there's a point system. Male, female, it doesn't matter. If you excelled in this, you excelled, whether you're male or female.
They understood that I was very highly motivated. And in the military, if you take the exams and the training seriously, it's a meritocracy. So you can get, at least it was for me, so then you can move ahead.
I was coming in something that not too many women were going into, which was systems kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And so in my application was lost twice.
There's things that still go on today. I mean, absolutely. I mean, do I think that, you know, we're all treated fairly? No. I believe that the men get better opportunities than we do. And females are sometimes looked at as second best.
And are you saying it was lost, or it was just simply lost?
It was lost.
I mean, I guess it all depends on too what job you have to. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of guys have matured this day and age, and it's not even about that, you know, unless you get that macho guy.
When it was finally approved, it happened so fast, and that fellow said, "How did this happen?" He said that.
The guy who had lost your application.
And he said it openly. The attitude was so comfortably allowed amongst the male that he could actually say that. How did this happen? I didn't sign that.
OG, you know, should we send women into actual combat? Types of roles, you know, fighter jet pilots, you know, those types of things. I'm not sure where we are in that discussion, but we're moving forward, realizing that women are extremely resilient physically and emotionally, if not more so than men. And I think the military is appreciating that. The one thing that's still the hanger-upper that it is with most jobs is the pregnancy. Women will not be deployed if they're pregnant.
I hit the military at exactly the right time. Not because everything was perfect, but many of the things that the civilian world was catching up on were, the prototype was in the military.
You know, I worked off my rank, and I expect that the enlisted respect me as a woman in this rank, and it does mean a lot.
Some of those men didn't want to be replaced to go to battle.
I remember when I was in the hotel waiting to go to boot camp, we were getting on the bus, and I saw a lady. She was like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Why did you join the army?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know how to answer."
Before I joined the Army, I was scared of guns. I was a girly girl. My nails were done every day, wore heels every day. Like, you would never expect me to be wearing this, ever.